Check. And I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. and we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call of members when you're ready.
Steelman,
Here.
Keaton,
Here.
Jacobson. We'll count him in a minute if he gets in here. Roll call.
Here.
DeYoung,
Here.
Valmuth.
Here. All right, declaration of conflict of interest pertinent to any of the agenda items on our agenda tonight. Carl? Steve? No, okay, all right, thank you. I'm going to open it up for public comment. Any person shall be permitted to address the meeting to the PC. Public comments shall be carried out in accordance with the following rules. Comments shall be directed to the PC with questions directed to the chair. Any person wishing to address the PC shall speak from the lectern or use the raise hand feature if Zoom is being utilized and state your name and address. Persons may address the PC on matters relevant to the township planning and zoning issues. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once in the same matter, excluding the time needed to answer a PC member's question. Public comment shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. Anybody in town hall? How about on Zoom?
Do we have anybody on Zoom?
We do.
Oh, we have a question. Connie?
Go ahead, Connie.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, can you hear me? I want to take this opportunity to thank the members of the Planning Commission for the job you do for the citizens of Whitewater Township. We appreciate your dedication to the township and for making decisions that directly affect the land and the homes that make up Whitewater Township. I would be remiss if I didn't mention how disappointed I was to hear that the PC rep at the ZBA meeting on August 24th state that he doesn't work for the people. Not quite sure what to think about that. I sure hope that his statement was in error and is investigated. It's upsetting to think that someone who sits at the table there isn't working for the greater good. So I hope that we proceed in a positive manner and that everyone stays on track with what they're really there for. I appreciate all your time, all of the hard work that you spend inside the hall and outside of the hall. I know your job's not easy. So thanks so much. Have a great meeting.
Thank you. Did you want to, is it okay and appropriate for him to make a statement? Not right now. Well, you'll have to wait.
Vicky's also got her hand up.
Okay, go ahead, Vicky.
Evening. I'd also like to start out by saying thank you. I know that you guys are volunteering your time. I have been volunteering with the resident outreach group, and as you all know, we're getting ready for the open house. It's coming up quite quickly along with the workshops, and we're hoping that a lot of people will come out. Obviously, you've heard that the number of surveys that were in was a great turnout, and I hope that we can continue getting the word out to everybody to continue voicing their opinions and their goals for the area that we live in. I realize you are all volunteering your time and you are appointed based upon your desire to help our township, and I thank you for that. My concern with everything going on is that everybody realizes who it is that you are representing and that it is the residents of the township. I'm hoping that you're all leaving your own personal agendas at the door when you come in for a meeting. And I'm hoping you're all listening to our comments and acting accordingly. I was very upset to hear the comments that Carl made at the ZBA meeting when Frank Highmore mentioned that he worked for him and Carl said that he did not. I guess I would like to know who you all think you do work for. Again, please leave your personal agendas at the door. Rachel, I just noticed that you asked the secretary about the procedures of the meeting, and that's another thing that I'm very concerned about. How much it is that Lois is involved in interfering with meetings when she is supposed to be there recording the meetings. So I would like that to be kept at a minimum as well. Again, thank you all for your time. Please leave personal agendas at the door.
Thank you. Anybody else with their hand up? Is there anybody on Zoom?
Nobody else on Zoom.
Okay. All right, we don't have a public hearing, so now we're gonna move on.
I had one quick question for procedural. Because some of the questions were directed to somebody, don't they have an opportunity? Wouldn't Carl have a chance to respond?
In PC discussion and comments, number 14. Unless you're gonna put it somewhere else in the agenda.
That's my question. That's my question. Because Carl certainly should have a right to respond somewhere.
I guess I will ask Randy the procedural question,
Okay,
since I shouldn't be asking Lois, so.
Yeah, I can't give you an answer. I'm sorry.
Okay, you don't know?
Okay.
I don't know either.
Well, if you go to 14, it says PC discussion and comments.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, and you know what? We did skip set adjust meeting agenda. I skipped that.
Yeah, so you didn't add it, you didn't pre-add a discussion about it. So you now have, the only place you can really discuss it is number 14.
Sounds good.
Unless Carl's gonna use public comment, but then there can be no
We're done with
back
public
and forth.
comment.
Yeah, but the 13 is public comment.
I
So
see what you mean.
I would say he has to use 14,
Okay,
because you didn't add it to the agenda.
I
That
didn't,
needs,
I,
I agree with Heidi, so that needs
I
to be,
didn't quite understand what
okay,
was said.
okay.
okay.
Couldn't hear it.
On the agenda, there's number 14 is PC discussion / comments, and that'll give you an opportunity to address
I-
the
I
public
have-
comments if you
Not
want.
a whole lot to say.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the approval of minutes from August 2nd, August 16th, and special ROS meetings, August 10th and August 24th. Any corrections?
We have one.
Okay,
This would be on the ROS special meeting on August 10th. Minutes. Under item 2, workshop planning, there
Mhm.
was a comment made that Turtle Creek about their conference rooms. And the amount was $750, and then also with a $400. And then this, the $400 is included in the $750. Just didn't want it to look like they were saying more than it
Okay, so
was.
instead of plus, it would be including.
Including,
$400.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Is that correct?
You need a clarification, your member has a clarification.
Yes, please clarify if I may.
He has to do it at the podium.
It's Tom McElway from the ROS. It's a minor point, but they were going to charge us $400. Whereas the room usually they would charge $750. And if we wanted refreshments, it would be on top of that. It was just, I didn't explain it clearly enough at our meeting and it got jumbled.
So it was 400 for the meeting room?
They would have charged us $400 for the meeting, and if we wanted refreshments, that would have been more. And I asked him if he would give us a community discount. He said, well, the room usually would be for the whole night. And it would be $750. I don't want Turtle Creek to somehow read these meetings and find out that we advertised poorly on their behalf.
So it would be 400
So 400.
plus.
$400 for the. And if we wanted refreshments, there would be a charge for that.
Plus additional 35. Okay, yeah, so the dollars just kind of got.
Yeah.
mixed up.
I think just take out the 750.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Any other corrections? Okay,
Make a motion
yeah, go ahead. Make a motion
to accept the minutes.
as amended. I'll second. Roll call when ready.
Eaton,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Robel,
Yes.
Steelman,
Yes,
Young,
Yes.
Valmont.
Yes.
thank you. I have no correspondence to share. Although there is, I think I don't know if I'm doing this right either, but there is some FYIs that I put in the back of the packet that I think are considered correspondence. If anybody wants to ever correct me down the road, please do, but it's the memo from Supervisor Pop. I think that would be, I think that would be considered correspondence. It's also unfinished business, so.
On your procedure stuff,
What's that?
on the procedures.
Yeah.
Or
And then Cheryl also gave the. Let me find the pages. I'll find the electronic packet pages.
153.
through,
Yep, 153 through 160. I mean, technically, maybe the next document on page 161, which is the memo that I submitted to the township board packet might also constitute correspondence, but it's also unfinished business to us, so I'm not sure. If somebody wants to correct me later, they're welcome to. I'll do it differently down the road if I need to.
Just an opinion,
Yeah,
anything that is old business is old business.
it's
And
not.
New correspondence would be new stuff.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
I mean, that's how I read it too. If
Yeah.
it's old in the back, if it's new, put it in the front.
Okay. Then I'll move on to reports, presentations, announcements, and comments. Bob's not here.
Did he send us anything? Nothing?
Well, he's got his stuff in the township board packet, but he didn't send me anything official. I don't have anything other than the FYIs later in the packet. What about you, Heidi?
Well, you guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I went through the board packet and I started to pull out things like I told you I would do. And then I started looking at what was in the packet and started thinking about what we're doing. And unfortunately, everybody really needs to read this month's packet because there's, if I would have, I would have had to pull out almost half the packet to make copies to give you. Because there's stuff in there on short-term rentals you need to read that are really important. There's things in there like the Bob's reports in there, you need to read that. There's some concerning issues that you need to read.
What concerning issues?
When you start reading it, you'll get it. I mean, I don't wanna air the laundry that I feel I read, but you really need to read the whole packet because some of the decisions you might be making down the road are in that packet, especially about short-term rentals. So, do you want me to make sure I get you a copy of the board packet? Anybody else need one?
I've got one.
You got one?
Yes.
Just make sure you read it. And unfortunately, I'm gonna ask you to read it at least twice and make some notes.
What do we do with the notes for future
Just
reference?
future reference, because we really don't know what's gonna happen with short-term rentals and, you know, we're gonna look at some stuff tonight about definitions and I noticed there's no definition in there for short-term rentals. Do we put one in there or Randy, you're shaking your head, help me out. Do we put something in?
I don't think we
Yeah.
can right now.
We're not at that point.
Not yet.
Well, make sure y'all read because it was interesting reading and it made me look at more homework on short-term rentals, and I think you would all be doing yourselves a big favor if you kind of dug into it. I normally wouldn't tell you to do that if I could make you copies and put it in front of you, but I couldn't do that this month. So I will make sure that I hand you 2 copies. Anyone else? Carl, did you want a printed copy of the board packet?
Pardon?
Did you want a printed
No, I have
copy?
it right here.
Okay, all right, so I just need
Oh,
to,
wait, you say the board?
yes, the board packet. I'm asking you to read the board packet. You know how I gave you the cheater last month? No
Yes, I'd
cheater
like a
packet.
hard copy of
Okay,
that.
so 3 copies, no problem. Other than that, I'm going to make copies of everything we discussed tonight and put it in front of the board as my report. So they will know what we decided to do. As far as the PTO, I notified the lady at the parent, what is that, parent teacher organization? What is the PTO?
Yeah.
Okay, and asked them if they ever did cookies, and I'm still waiting for a response. So I don't know if we're gonna have coffee and cookies on our plate, or if we're gonna find somebody to take care of it. I will keep working on the issue. But she did want a head count. So ROS, do you think you could give me a head count of how many people you think are gonna walk through?
I don't think we can predict that, right?
I think we were hoping for 100 or so,
Can we just ballpark it? Cause I mean,
about 100,
100,
but that's people coming and going too during those 3 hours. They're not 100 people there necessarily at one time.
well, no, she just wanted to know how many, how many cookies, if they're gonna get cookies, should they be pre-wrapped cookies in case they don't get used and then they can use them for something else, or, so I have to get back with her with the count, and I'll just tell her 100. That's all I have, but it's really important you do read the packet. I could not print all that information out for you. I would have killed a tree.
Anything else?
Oh, yeah.
Carl, what do you got for us?
We had our meeting week the last Thursday, with the zoning board of appeals, the Bags Road Partners. We're apparently it was back in June, the board overturned the conclusion of our zoning administrator where he judged that 30 acre site did not need a variance, that the 4-to-1 rule did not apply to anything over 10 acres. That was his ruling. The township board overruled it, said it did, and then judged that the property was not buildable because it didn't meet the 1:4 ratio, and therefore no building permits could be issued. At our meeting, after reviewing all of the information and being consistent with all of the past appeals of the 4-to-1 rule, we voted to allow the variance. This was a very contentious meeting for some reason. A lot of people thought it had something to do with the project for the condos. It did not. It was strictly this one item. But a lot of people were there and spoke to that. But we had one individual that violated absolutely our rules that we have to obey for the zoning commission. Mr. Frank Highmore Jr. sent letters to all of the zoning board members and also an email. This is strictly forbidden. We can only judge what is said at the meeting. We cannot take information prior to it. We cannot talk to each other about it. It's absolutely forbidden. And then, so that was a breach. But as soon as I got this letter and opened it, I did not read it. And when I got the email, I did not read it. I can only look at what is said at the meeting. That's the law. So he violated us, our standards on that. And at the further comments, I think that was Vicky. That's what I said in the meeting is not what I said. I'm not going to talk about it. Just she substituted the word, took my word out. I was just talking to this gentleman at the end of the meeting because he was screaming at me that you work for me. You work for me. And I got a little tired of that. I'm sorry. But I don't work for him. I work for all of the people of the township. And in the zoning appeals, I work for both the township trying to, to enforce the zoning ordinance. And I also work for the people appealing where they deserve justice. We vote for both of them. He did not allow me to say that. I was afraid for my safety. At that point, everybody was up and in arms and his attitude was such, I was afraid that I was going to be attacked. Other than that, I don't have another word to say about it.
Thank you. We'll move on to unfinished business. Those update projects.
Okay, well, you have in your packet a memo from me as well as some accompanying material on the zoning ordinance. I want to go through the memo here just to make sure that it's clear what we're doing and how we're going about this, and also get your feedback and reaction to what's been provided to you. I gave you a little bit of history in terms of where we've been, in terms of getting the contract signed, meetings with the clerk and supervisor, and emails to the township attorney, as well as meetings with Bob Hall about how we're approaching this. So we're all on the same page. I've got really 3 points that I want to make clear at the very beginning. This really project boils down to a clarification of the zoning ordinance, more so than viewers use words like update that suggests that we're updating standards and changing requirements. And as I said earlier, we want to try to stay away from that. Not that it's almost harder to do that because I see a lot of things I want to change, but they should not be, we shouldn't drift too far from what the existing ordinance has in it.
Can I ask a question on it? Are you at least taking notes? When you do see something you'd like to see change, you're marking them and.
Yes, there'll be a list. In fact, some of it's in the comments, you'll see, for example, one large area is the signage requirements. The ordinance was written, I believe, before some major court cases were decided here, one of which at the Supreme Court level that changed the way local governments can regulate signage. That's one real important area that we need to come back to, but that'll take on a life of its own almost. So we want to highlight that. We need to get to it, but if we go into that rabbit hole, we'll probably won't get out for a long time. So
There's
focus.
There's going to be a lot of controversy on the signage because I know certain people had certain requirements.
Yes. Yes. And so we just want to know that that's there, that's one of many issues that we need to come to. We'll need to do some prioritization exercise at some point to decide what we tackle first. The second item is, as I look through the entire ordinance from beginning to end, I see 37 different articles, which is really quite a lot. And some articles only have just a couple of provisions, one or two have just one. And it really is probably a symptom of the fact that the ordinance has been put together over the last 50 years and amended. And so I think there's an opportunity to condense the number of articles down from 37 to about 15. And I think that would make it easier. Again, not changing anything, just rearranging where stuff is so that material that's related to other provisions are next to each other. And you can use the table of contents in a more constructive way. So I provided in the material the highlighted sections of how that might collapse down and be a little bit more easy to navigate. again, the zoning ordinance is not a series of independent articles. It's one document that is our chapters of a book, so to speak. So it's better to have this better organized, and now's the time to probably do that. The third issue is that the zoning ordinance, and we've kind of touched on this at past meetings, uses legal descriptions to define where the zoning districts start and stop. That began when the ordinance was prepared back in the 70s. Most, like 99% of the local governments use maps to show where your zoning districts are, not legal descriptions. Primarily because nobody knows how to read legal descriptions unless you're a registered surveyor. So it's recommended here that we move to a map. The township has been using a zoning map for probably 10, 15 years. If you look at the prior master plan, the zoning map is in there. And it's on the website. It's been relied upon as the description of where the zoning districts are. The issue comes down to making sure that the language in the ordinance connects the map to the ordinance. They're one document. They're not, the map is identified as the official zoning map with signatures by the clerk and the supervisor, and gives you the current date on it. So if there's rezonings in the future, you can tell if the map has been changed. So what you have in the material that I provided is going in that direction. And I've talked to both Bob and Ron Pop about that, and there's agreement that that's the better way to go. And this is the opportunity to fix it. So the material you have, which goes through a lot of detail of the ordinance, is in two forms. I'm still not happy with the way it's organized as far as identifying a clean copy and a copy that shows where the edits come from. I want to improve that for the next time you see this material, because it's hard to read the clean copy when there's highlights in it, and yet it's just more of a problem of working around the features in Microsoft Word than it is anything else. And so I plan to do that. I did spend a little time working at the definitions, and I found a number of places where the definitions are lacking, important ones, not just throwing definitions to add it, but terms like bed and breakfast, there's a state definition for that. We should use the state definition, which is more commonly accepted. There is terms like adult foster care facilities that are also regulated by the state, and we should use the state's definition, so we're consistent with it. Words like lot area there's no definition for lot area in the ordinance, and that's important technical definition to have. There's no definition for farm markets. There's no definition for a number of other things. We can go through it all individually if you want, but we've gone through and made, there'll be a lot more definitions added to this as we go through it. But again, trying to stay away from adding a lot of new material, but if you don't have definitions for some of these things, you find yourself in problems when you can't define what simple terms are. And if you're a planning wonk like I am, you have books at home that have definitions of lot area, and so it's not difficult to add the clarification to this. It's harder to come up with it yourself, but if you have a book that shows how 15 different communities define lot area, you can easily pick one and drop it in here and move on. So I guess a couple other points I wanted to do is I will create a better key to show what the edits are. And you'll notice that there's some that show formatting changes, and there's some that show comments. So I want to get a little better system in there so you can see what's changed and why. We want to try to be as transparent here as we can. It's challenging in that we go through the first several chapters of this, and what we find is we have to go back to all 87 amendments and make sure that section wasn't amended. There's cases where there were amendments that were given numbers, but I can't find where the town board took that up. So it's apparent that there was an amendment number given to something, but it's not clear if the town board passed it or not. So there's kind of weeding through that amount of work. So I want to get to your comments here. I don't want to go on and on here, but
I had one question there, Randy, like on the amendments. So I'm sure there would be something that'd be harder to find, or we might, can you word in an amendment that we amend that this here supersedes anything else previous, so that
Yes.
this is it.
Yes,
If you
yes.
find something, this is the new one.
right, the idea is
Yes.
this ordinance is going to replace everything before.
And if we make that statement like,
Yep.
like up front, say then that eliminates the concern
Yep.
for something sneaking in from
Yes,
the past age.
we're repealing everything done before.
Okay,
And I made that point with Chris Patterson, that would be the approach here. So that we don't get stuck in this stuff, that this new zoning ordinance will replace what we have.
Everything. That's why we can't make substantial change, because it would get too convoluted. So we get it usable in what we have right now, pass it, and then by then the master plan's done and we start actually making effective change to it based on what the master plan.
Exactly.
but I mean, there's good reason for that, but to me, it really slowed the process down then is what you're thinking, if we made the changes as we went, so when it came together, it was finished,
Right.
but that's not the way to do it.
Well, I've seen that tried before,
Okay.
and every time you do that, you create another potential controversial issue that stalls the whole
Oh, okay.
project. Because it gets hung up on, you know,
Technicality.
yeah, and it's like, it's an important issue, but we can't solve every problem to everyone's satisfaction.
That's why we paid him just to do this.
Yeah,
Just-
that
let's
sounds
just
good.
get this-
That's just-
Let's get a good foundation in place. Let's get this so that it's better, more workable. An example is for churches, the existing requirements say churches under 5,000 square feet in area are permitted. Churches 5,000 square feet or greater are special uses. It doesn't really define what area is. So we've used the word building footprint. So building footprint, that's defined, you can clearly see area, but it's not sure whether or not there's 2 stories to it or a mezzanine or some kind of thing. Does that count? It's that kind of problem that is in the ordinance here that we need to clarify. And there's others like that as well.
Just doing this is a huge step.
Absolutely, yeah. Randy, on the map thing, do we have an opportunity to put a statement on the map? Like I remember a couple of 3 years ago, we were talking about this map thing. There was some concern about, like where the lakefront properties meet the other districts that come up against them, that because of the 500-foot from the
Right.
water line thing is a concern to some of them people. Do we have the opportunity to, on the map, to put a statement to something to the effect of properties on the dividing line may want to look at the legal description or something I don't know what the wording
Well,
would be, but
We have, and looking at the zoning map, hundreds of split zone properties in the township.
yeah, to address that, is there a way to address that on the map?
Yes. And we should, although I think right now there's nothing. Right now, all we have is the zoning map that shows hundreds of split zone properties and no clear guidance from anywhere in the ordinance that I see about how you deal with that.
But as we create the map, we have opportunity to fix that.
Right. I would suggest that that's language in the ordinance about how we address split zone properties. And commonly you would say if the majority of the parcel is zoned one category, then that's how the whole parcel is zoned. But when they have the residential district, I forget which one, goes within 500 feet or something, or 300 feet of the lake shore, which was intended to cover all the lakes. What you see on the zoning map, though, is they took that to include all of the creeks and streams in the township, which is kind of unusual because I'm not sure that was intended, but that may be something that likely something that comes up in the master plan. Is that really what you want? You want higher density next to the river corridors or the creeks and streams? I don't think so.
Is it
But-
such a thing, Randy, that you could, is it such a thing that you could grandfather in certain sizes of things to, so you don't open up something that doesn't, that is working now? Would that be an option?
Well, we'll have to have some language in here. I think that's a clarification issue that we need to address so that, I guess, how do you decide right now? I don't know.
We need the
And
master plan.
That just makes us more vulnerable, I think, to future problems where you can't definitively say what a parcel is zoned. So the intent here is to reorganize, clarify, and I've got to chapter 4 and or article 4 rather. I want to share this is really a working document. It's nowhere near done. This is not ready for prime time in any respect, but I wanted to share the direction that we're going and
Well, I know you have a giant undertaking and it's gotta be overwhelming at times, but I like how you're doing it. I think it's brilliant to take it from 37 to 15 and get rid of all of that. That's exactly what we were hoping for and wanted. I don't know how you could show it to us or depict it differently with the amount of movement and things you have to do. So your question was feedback, review the attached material and provide feedback. And I like how it's headed personally, but I would like to hear what everybody else thinks too.
I really appreciate all you do. For me, once I read what you put down for us, it helps me understand it better on my own personal.
Especially because you give yeah, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory when you read it.
Okay. One of the other things we're trying to avoid here is places where we have the same requirement written in 2 or 3 different places. And that's really something you want to avoid in a zoning ordinance, because if you state it differently someplace else, you might have conflicting requirements. Or in Article 5, it says this, in Article 8, it says that. And it's close but not exact, and then so that creates confusion. So the effort is to try to keep it in one place and then make references. And we're not done this yet, but there'll be hyperlinks where if it says see section 5 point something, you'll click on that and it'll take you to that section. So you don't have to go flipping through the box. And so but I can't do that yet till we get things more roughed out as to what we're trying to get done.
You'd just be constantly updating it and fixing
Yeah,
the links
exactly.
until you have a complete document, then you can add the
Right.
links. That makes sense to me.
Much rather do that once or twice rather than 15
Yeah.
times.
Right, hundreds of times and miss one and yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. What do you think of it, Keith?
I like it. It's kind of exactly where we wanted to go.
Carl, what do you think of it?
100.
Or Heidi? You like it?
I really like it. I mean, you're not getting into more definitions, but I guess are you gonna define where like you're sitting in like you're in ag 1, but it's also a zoned residential 1? Are you gonna split that or you just gonna leave
It
it?
can only be in one district.
Okay. It's gonna get interesting because
But were you saying that
this.
when is that considered substantial or not? Or does that go along with the zoning map where that needs to be addressed of how?
I don't know because
Is that something that-
some people are sitting on ag 1, but it's zoned R1 too. It's 2 different things, but if you look at your tax form, it says on there ag/R1.
I haven't
Okay.
got to that problem yet.
Well, then, But I guess what I'm trying to ask is when you do the map, adding what Mike was asking about to clarify that, is that something that happens now or is that a more substantial change of something that's?
No, I think we want to take the existing map. There's a question that's been raised about the industrial zone and I want to try to clarify that. But then we also need we need a scale on there,
Mhm.
you know, so we'll just add that. The scale, fix whatever's incorrect as far as the industrial zone. And then add places for signatures for the supervisor and clerk, as well as an adoption date on there. So then that becomes the official zoning map. It's filed away at the clerk's office as an official document. Copies are made, of course, for the website and any other purpose, but
I have a new book for the read on the assessor, Randy. I'll check it out.
Really ask, one thing with this is, you think we could have an attachment to this that starts to list all the problems? So that we got
Yeah.
one page to go to?
yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
that's,
can see-
that's kind of what I alluded to, is making a running list of all the things that we know need to be addressed.
And maybe just make that an attachment to this.
In fact, that's gonna
document.
dovetail into the master plan because there's this, it's required that we have a list of major issues to adjust in the zoning ordinance in order to achieve the master plan. So oddly enough, your master plan and zoning are never in sync because your master plan is recommending what changes need to be made to your zoning ordinance. And so there'll be, yes, that's a long answer, yes.
Nice to just be able to see it all. You know, we're talking just the major ones, the ones that are gonna have to, be dealt with in one way or another.
So each time he gives an update, you're asking for a one page, like a list of what so far he's come up with, and then we know it'll grow each time he gives us kind of more that's been done.
Yeah, just using your working document, maybe just the last page and attachment that has
Okay.
the running problems, and you could just be updated each
Okay.
time. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
making sure, yeah, that's what you were, I was making sure I understood, okay.
And also we should have, if Randy needs something, a decision from us to move forward, then he should have priority where we could get that on the agenda, get settled if he has an issue needs to be settled so that he can go back to work.
Do you need a motion or anything tonight to continue the way you're doing, or just?
No, I just keep-
consensus that we like it and.
I don't think
keep
so. I
running
think
with it?
just keep going and
Okay.
adding to what we're doing and moving forward. Again, I don't want to just do this and drop the whole thing on you at the end. That'd be pretty hard to deal with, but so you can see this incrementally as we take steps.
Well, thank you for all your work. You're doing a great job. We appreciate it.
Really makes it easier to fix when it's all in front of you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You don't have to look 5 million places.
Any other questions or anything to do with the zoning updates? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to master plan. In the packet were the final survey results. We had asked for them kind of in a more polished format, and you.
Final?
The final, you guys can start including, this is gonna go along with the ROS if you want to, just up to the. So. I'm gonna jump to number 2 though really fast about posting. If we're good with this final version, are we ready to have it posted on the township website? Do I need a motion for that or just a consensus?
I'd make
I
a
don't know.
motion.
I-
I'd make a motion.
Okay,
There's no rules in.
well,
terms of that.
apparently there are, and I don't know them.
Supposed to be
Right.
following Robert's rules, but here's how I look at it. We need a roll call vote on this because we're all approving something to go out into the public land. So wouldn't the public like to know how everybody voted versus just, we all said it was cool, so we put it up there.
Then
That's
would
how I
make-
look at whether you should
that-
roll
that
call
makes
vote,
sense.
or
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion. Cool. I'll make a motion to take the master plan survey results as a final report and put it up on the website for public inspection.
Second that.
You all right with that, Rainey? Okay.
Roll call when ready.
Yes, this last survey.
Yeah, the master.
Take the master plan survey results final report of June 2023 and place it on the township website for further review. You want to put that up there for public review?
It would be June 20, wouldn't be June, it would be, when was this one?
It says June 2023.
I know, when was this one edited? Just want to make sure we always get the right edited version.
This is the most current, is it not?
It
2023?
is, yeah.
Right, so
The
let's
other
just
one's
go
the
with
final?
final.
No,
No.
we were relying on the material
That
from
had
networks.
working
Yeah.
copies.
Do they have working?
Should be a distinction there.
So I have the final copy by itself and I will email it to Lois to have posted, so you just have that document, the
Okay.
final one. Thank you.
Did somebody second that?
I did.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Here.
You're welcome.
When ready, roll call. No worries, no hurry.
Did you take 2001 survey? and Look at this. I was laughing so hard. I had a list going on a chalkboard. After she goes, did you waste my money? Like, I don't know.
Almost,
Yes.
Keaton,
Yes.
Roble,
Yes,
Jacobson,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes,
Steelman.
Yes. Um. Keith, I'll let you talk about your piece now if you want.
okay, well, I think, since, the most pressing issue is the open house that we're gonna have.
Oh, I meant the by population.
Oh,
We'll review that if you would.
if you want
and
to
then
just
we'll go
quick
into
look at it,
others.
I just started, and I grabbed the population because that was first. I don't know if it helps anybody or not to see, the breakdown and, you know, who finished the survey based on, population. How much population we have in the county or the township and how much actually voted or actually, filled out the survey. And then, anyways, the breakdown's there. I don't know if it helps anybody or not. It helped me to see it this way. Kind of gives you an idea. You know, there was the population and then what kind of chunk actually surveyed by age and everything. And then for next meeting, I will have, for our special meeting we got coming up, I'll have a couple of, I have one almost completed, one of the questions. And I broke it down because there's so many responses to some of these. And so I just broke it down into the responses into categories. And then each category might have subcategories to that. So basically, when we talk about something, we can say, well, in this question, you know, the bulk of the questions came in as, I'm just gonna use roads as one of the answers, you know, the roads are bad, or I don't like the way the board's handling this, or whatever. And it breaks it down to see, so you can actually see just by looking at it, how many people are actually upset about what different category or are happy about. The traffic was a big thing in the first one I was doing. They were happy with some of the roundabouts, they're happy with some of the stuff that was doing. And then they were, mentioned other things they should have done, but. So I don't know if it's worth me going through it or not, but.
I'd like to see that.
I wonder if I shouldn't give that to the board to look at.
You can
And
if
then
you
say,
want.
here, I need to pique your interest. So look at this and then read the survey results. Cause remember, they didn't wanna read the 4 chapters, so I put it in the packet, so maybe if I just give them a handout this time, it'll intrigue them to
But
look.
definitely just by going over the charts, you can get a quick glance at who answered these questions.
I mean, it might pique their interest to go read the report.
No, maybe.
What do you
yeah.
think?
I don't know, try it.
Well, it's an invitation to the party again, so.
Yeah.
You know, okay, they're gonna get a bunch of handouts, then maybe I'll send it in an email beforehand.
So, I guess you'll see in the next meeting, we'll have, some based on the question, because this is just the population. But I think you'll see that it's pretty interesting, and it's a lot easier than trying to read that. survey.
Yeah, it is.
I went through all the, data and, Excel files. It's basically, they just dumped it all in cells. So I'm trying to sort those out and put them into something that we could use. Well,
So it is my only question would be, is that it's a lot of work, I know, and having done stuff like that, and so my question is for Randy that. Is it time well spent? Is it going to, can we use that data in the master plan, or was the survey basically to pull out the topics for the workshop, which we've done? I guess I don't want them to do it if it's not going to be useful later.
I think it'll be more useful a little bit later after we get, like if we wanted to know what do people north of 72 think versus south of 72, we can, about a particular issue. Maybe the lot sizes or something, or something, we can go back into that. I guess that was my thought, that
good idea.
rather than going through all the analysis, if it might be better time spent if
Little
we,
pieces at a time.
if
Well, I can
we,
show you what I did with the first one, 'cause that's done. It's never ready to bring it to that. And then, so you'll know that, hey, I can have this if I want it on a certain subject.
Yeah.
Can you email that to me and then I'll kinda,
Well, that'll be at the ROSA on the 15th, and then it would have to come back through the PC. Before I think it could go to the board, right?
well, I just thought I was gonna just give them a copy of what you had there.
Oh, this
Just-
one you.
Yeah,
can.
to
Yeah.
say, hey, this is gonna pique your interest, because if I give them that handout, then in October's packet, hopefully we can give them more detail. What do you think? Good?
Okay, well, we'll look over the, what
I
I've
just-
got and see what you guys think.
I just have a question on page 143, the pie chart you have. I'm not sure the percentages are right. It doesn't add to
I would
100.
suggest making those, lecture a little
Oh,
larger, because I can't tell what color those are.
okay, I can do that.
Looks good. Just-
Might want to double check that.
What was your
What that
question?
is, that's the percentage of total population.
Right,
which
but
responded.
the percentages inside the pie, I don't think add to 100.
They're not going to, because there wasn't 100 there. You're talking about 22,700 population.
And only
Well,
600.
This is only the
There-
percentage.
There's 623 responses, and then you have the age breakdown.
Of, yeah, and I need to put on there the population of 2,700.
Oh,
So what this
okay.
is it's the, so for between 18 and 25, that was 0.3% of the population responded.
that we
to
heard, okay. I see.
But you're right, I should put the, total population up there. That is a little bit confusing. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's. good.
Yeah, I will work on that for you.
Okay.
I know that, it was the older population that responded to the most, and the other ones are probably want the least change.
Yeah.
And, that's good to point, but you gotta look at the people in the middle. This is where 10, 15 years from now, where the population is gonna be. I'm not
I
sure.
think 55 and up actually did a good, I mean, they had good responses.
Mhm.
You know, 55 and up had good responses, so. Bad.
You know,
We'll make a note on that, to add the population on that.
So again, so you're saying that we heard from almost 6% of the people between 55 and 64? Is that the way to read that?
What are we talking here?
The-
Between 55 and 64, you have a,
You have 5.7.
Almost
Okay.
6% of that.
So we heard from almost 6% of the people in
that
that,
group.
In that group.
okay.
What was it? I'm doing the action item list here, so what was it you needed to add? I can email it to you. You were,
Sure.
if, summarize what you're updating and I'll.
No,
add
it's
it
just the population, the township population.
Total population.
Total
Total
population.
township population.
Another good one there, is the next one, next page. At the pie chart, the. Kind of gives you a full picture of. How many, what the population is, and then the part that actually,
Okay. Yep. So we heard from about a fourth.
that's what I figured about.
you
a
can
fourth
see,
of
and
the
you can see
population.
which part of the population actually gave the most. I mean, some of them were almost. You know, not half, but darn close as the older they got, you know. And then even the 35 to 44, there was a big bump compared to anything with 18 to 25 or 26 to 34, or even 45 to 54.
I didn't get one of this. Somebody else got one.
It's in your pack.
In your packet.
It's in your packet. We're on page
Okay.
144, 143,
Okay.
144.
Thank you. 44.
The one that, like, I guess if you're gonna give this to board, what I would ask is on question, or page 146, question 3. Identify which quadrant you live. We might want to add the map, the little picture of what 1, 2, 3, and 4 are again, because I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, I got a question mark on that.
Yeah, you can do that.
What are the what are the quadrants? Where are they?
Yep. It depends on which chart you're looking at, but the percentages of the one that we were talking about, where I didn't add the 2,700 or whatever that was. That's based on the percentage of the total population. Yes. Right. Right. The groups would be on the other chart, the next page. Yes. Yes.
Okay, what am I doing now?
No, that's right, yeah.
It's what,
What did you suggest?
what am I doing?
Yep. Okay. Yep. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, there's a lot of different, I just put in a bunch of different ways to look at it, so if there was something that piqued your interest more than the others, you know, we only have to show what we want, what we're interested in. But it did help me to really understand who responded.
You say that's in the pack?
Yes, I believe so.
Yep,
Yep.
page 144.
Okay, I don't have, where am I in the wrong?
Page 144.
Pardon?
Page
Oh,
144.
one.
Starts on
Yeah,
143.
So Rachel, did they already fill out? Yeah.
There's no app for it. There's no official. app.
So they just show up in a time.
Talk about it.
What's that? Yeah.
That was two different issues?
Should have probably put a little one sheet on the front explaining it.
Maybe a code, you know, a key. I figured it out after I laid it all out and looked at it. I was like, oh, I see where he's going. But I know how you think too, so you put the big P on the table is what you
Good
do.
luck with that.
Yeah,
So, are there any questions on that then?
Nope, I just
Great.
jotted down
Good job.
the two.
I'm gonna make a
things
couple
to
changes
update.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
put them on the action items also.
I might even I could do like a front
That's
sheet
good.
for it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Just like a
Explain-
cheat sheet.
Explain each one. Good. That's what we
We
want to do.
could.
Well,
That'd be
that,
great.
Could have it on the table with the clipboards. Which I have clipboards. I just have to have somebody make new pages for sign-in. Randy, are you gonna have a sign-in sheet or anything? I have clipboards if somebody makes the sheet. Do you want more than 3 clipboards? That's all we had for the open house.
Good.
So. We're good on survey completely, I think, and we're gonna move into resident outreach subcommittee.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
And I don't know if this is relevant at this point in time. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. But, as we process this information and try to work it into the master plan, like some of this stuff is conflicting. They're actually talking about the same topic, but the numbers come back conflicting, and I'm gonna use, shoreline and waterway protection and public sewers. And in this stuff, they talked about public sewers around the lakes. Well, in the numbers, like I'm looking at page 127, in the numbers, shoreline and waterway protection is very high. The numbers are very high. People think that's very important. But if you go down to public sewers, it's the lowest number on the list under very important. So, people think that's important, but the community doesn't want to do much about it, is according to these numbers. So how do we,
Yeah,
how do we make that and be able to justify our recommendation to the master plan? I mean, do we override the 93 and say that the 369
Is more
is
important.
more important? I mean, I don't
But
quite
what was
understand how to
the-
process that.
Right, but what was the thinking when they answered the question? Because sometimes you think of protecting the waterway and shorelines is maybe by not having public sewer, who knows?
Well,
Don't
the
know
best
what kind of-
protection we can give to our waterways right
Is
here is get some
public
better
sewer,
sources
right,
from around the
exactly.
lakes. I've been swimming in them my whole life and they have changed.
Yeah.
and that would probably be something like a public sewer system, which we're not gonna have. Or at least for, I don't know how many years. So what we have to do is work with what we have.
Yeah,
I mean, it's nice to say, yes, I want public, I don't like the sewer systems. Okay, but Whitewater Township can't afford to put in city system.
Yeah,
Well,
I
remember
think
too,
that's-
this is just
Yeah.
the master plan. So this is just
Yeah.
saying, hey, people think it's important.
Yes.
But they
We
there's
don't have the
tax
funds to
base.
do it now, but we do think it's important.
But they don't want to pay for a sewer system right now. and That's
But your
expensive.
master plan is a
We want the
projection, it's a
protection
plan.
of the waterways, keep it clean, but
Right.
Correct.
Yes,
And that's all we
yes.
have to do is just write that
So
out.
down the road, maybe the infrastructure would come. You don't know.
Yeah, someday.
Maybe
but it
people
will.
wanna pay triple the taxes just for better infrastructure, who
Yeah.
knows?
And it may, but
Not
this,
according to this.
No, not according to this, no.
well, I
not
think a
at
lot
all.
of it, this is a kind of like a wish list. I guess you could look at it that way, but wish lists have a cost. Okay, but it is good to have that when they know they want it and they also know we can't afford it.
Right.
You know,
Like I said, maybe I'm jumping the gun, but it's a question in my mind and I just think it should be thrown out there. Cause I don't exactly know what the answer is.
You almost have to go into more detail to how they were looking at the question.
Well, I mean, this is just an example. There are other things in this that I see the same way.
I saw it with
Different
emergency,
questions that
yeah,
kind of
and-
work. They kind of work together if you're thinking about the whole community.
right.
But if you're only just thinking about that one question, which in my opinion, that's kind of how people answer this. Around this table are looking at it from a different point of view. We're trying to look at it from the whole community point of view. Most people that filled out the survey are looking at it from
Just
their,
point of view.
yeah, how it affects their life.
yeah, personal view, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Last call for survey stuff. Not that we can't loop back to it, but.
Did everybody like the way it was presented back to you, to read, especially you ROS? Did you like what you got back? Is this the product you were thinking you were gonna get back? Okay, just checking.
I didn't like it.
It was a lot of reading.
I didn't like it at all. But I mean, that's what we got back.
You didn't, and why didn't you like it?
Well, I think you know, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's organized well. I mean, they just basically just listed out all the answers, you know, and didn't organize anything. I'm going through and organizing it now and it's, you know, I would have thought that a professional report would have done that, but.
Especially with modern technology. Yeah, that's what's my thought too.
Rachel, on that, I had a question. You know, Keith is doing a lot of put in a lot of extra effort into this to cleaning this up for our benefit, for the township's benefit. Is there some way that we can compensate Keith for?
I don't want anything, thank you.
Oh, okay.
If
Okay.
he wants something, he has to submit a time sheet.
I do it because I enjoy it.
Okay.
Thank you, Keith.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
So we're gonna move into resident outreach subcommittee. I had 9 folks reach out interested or asking questions about the ROS, several. The timing wasn't quite right, and then there was a couple that were applying for the PC, which I will note that I did see in the township board packet, there is somebody up for appointment. So we should hopefully, if that goes through, we'll have a full commission again in October. But there were 2 folks, I believe they attended the ROS meeting. It was Gary Bukowski and Reen Stratton. And followed up with me also back after the ROS meeting saying they were still interested. Heidi had asked me if they filled out an application. I didn't give them an application. I'm unaware if there's an official application I should have had them fill out. We kind of did that in the original request, I know. And then there was some talk of maybe we shouldn't have or didn't need to do it that way. So I don't know.
Is it Renee or is it?
Reen, pronounced Reen.
Back when the community asked me to be here, and I went and talked to Ron, he asked me to just write a letter to him, asking to be on it. It wasn't an actual application that I filled out.
For the planning commission, there is an application. If you want to be on the ZBA, the planning commission or PrAC, any of those, you do have to fill out an application now. It's on the website.
Okay,
for a
let's ask these
subcommittee-
you guys, what did you guys do? Did you fill anything out?
We had some, back in January, February, when we were soliciting, we asked for some emailed questions to answer some questions about what, were you able to commit your time? I could look back at what they were. I've talked to these folks about that same stuff. That was part of the process with everybody, all 9 of them, whether it was either via email or a phone or both. We chatted about the commitment, and that's how it came down to the 2 that were really out of the 9 that were available and willing to participate and attended the last ROS meeting. So as far as I understand the rules for us to follow, I can appoint subcommittee members. And that's what this is. It's not a planning commission seat, so.
I think we should just leave it at that and not make it complicated. You know, because when we start going for applications and resumes and things like that, let's just, you know, Rachel can appoint them.
Somebody's gotta make an emotion. Somebody's gonna make a motion.
I think it technically says the planning commission can appoint committees, so. that's
Oh,
why a
so-
motion-
Okay. I thought it was, I have to look at our bylaws again too, because isn't it
And
in,
just going to the planning enabling act.
okay,
Where it says the planning commission can create committees.
Yep.
let's do that
Subcommittee.
then, just to make sure we're following
Okay,
all the
so
rules
somebody make a
properly.
motion.
I'll make a motion to appoint Gary Bukowski and Reen Stratton to the resident outreach subcommittee.
Second it.
Thank you. Roll call when ready.
That was much easier than the one before.
Sorry.
It was just a more complicated one. And Robel.
Yes.
Keaton,
Yes.
Valmuth,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes. Thank you. We're gonna move on to the Leah memo. There's an email, it starts on page 148. And then their memo. Which I haven't been fortunate enough to meet them yet, but my goodness, Barry is on top of it.
This is basically what we did at their meeting. We just went through, he had a great memo to start out with. And we thought, there's no reason us to rewrite this, so we just went through each step of this and made our corrections, and he added to them, and this is what we figured from the meeting. He's been wonderful.
So he was trying to be here tonight, but he is sick, so. But he will be at the meeting on the 15th of the ROS. At which time I would believe he would have the beginnings of the stations, what materials at each station. And the dots and all the questions, maybe not totally resolved, but quite a ways down the path. So.
Okay, can I ask a question? Where are you sticking me so I can kind of prep for what people are gonna ask me? Just out of
I
curiosity.
seen something somewhere, sound like you were gonna help out with the
So,
production.
so you look at our draft, which are our approved meeting minutes. We have that in there under special meeting business on number 2. Talks about, who we kind of thought would fit under each. I don't know if we're going on a step here, under each
No, you're-
table.
152 from memo, there's material there too.
Okay, is it on your too?
It says volunteers on there. It doesn't
Yeah,
name people.
Oh, yeah, so we named them in our meeting,
You
Which
did
page is
name-
that on?
What page? is that?
10
10?
of the draft, which would be the approved special meeting minutes. Our meeting from there. So basically, we put down the welcome would be Steelman, Rachel. The welcome table, zoning and development, which would be 2 separate tables, would be taken by LIAA. I think the
Hey,
general,
cool, I don't have to do nothing. Awesome.
I think there was,
Didn't even ask.
Yes, and then, float. And then, infrastructure was, Tom, yep.
So it would still be appropriate for most of us to be there as
Definitely,
floats and
yes.
to help. Like, I mean, if I need to use the restroom for 3 hours, for 3 hours, you know what I mean? I need somebody to give me a break. So, so you can be a floater, Heidi, or everybody we would love to have as a floater, right?
Yeah, everybody can come and help out at any of the tables. It's not.
Go ahead, Denise.
I'm like
Sorry, Keith, I
making
didn't mean to
cookies in the
interrupt you.
kitchen.
I'm available for just about where he need me.
Oh, that's true.
That's fine. I don't care.
You're not invited, Heidi. Just kidding. You
Hey,
can- you
I
can
don't
come
have
as
to
a-
show up.
I didn't
No,
consider
you
as.
still need to
yeah,
come
he's still
as
a
the-
PC member.
You're,
so.
well, and you're a resident too, so,
Yeah.
I mean.
Maybe I'll be sitting on the other side of the table, people.
Mhm.
I'm on the tape.
Yeah,
Listen to my voice.
I might be in the kitchen making the cookies.
I didn't know there
so-
was a cookie table. If there is, that's.
right.
For that. and,
I just was asking because I was like, okay, nobody's told me I'm doing anything. This could be a good thing. I'm all for it.
But if you, think Randy probably go through the memo here, but, I think it pretty much lists everything you could think of in there.
That real quick though, that was gonna be my question is that twofold. We've read this memo, if we review it together and we make a motion, are we just passing, like accepting and wanting to move forward with all of this here?
I think this is just a good general direction memo. This is, like anything, you have to make changes as you go. So this is where we want to be.
So
But-
my second follow-up question to that is, you meet on the 15th, if you change things to this, do we need to meet between the 15th and the 28th to approve this? Or are we are we able to give jurisdiction to tweak this?
It's just an open.
Yeah,
it's
this
an
is just an
open-
open
It's an
document.
open meeting and this is an open document. But I think we should give the board this and show them I'm just gonna make them a little package. and then
I
maybe
think you
I'll-
can, correct me if I'm wrong, Randy, but
No,
we can just approve this as this is our
In concept or whatever.
conceptual,
Okay,
plan.
I don't-
Yeah.
There's things that may happen, like, someone does have a man to say it, but it ends up being someone else, and somebody off the schedule that they have. It's just me, my recommendation would be the people that are trying to be able to say, find someone to, maybe be with them and maybe to take a break or something.
Well, that's why you have a floater.
Yeah.
Yeah, the format's pretty informal here in this. I
Yeah.
mean, you have people at the stations, they're gonna talk, people, we don't know what people are gonna say when they come up there. We want to get them to ask questions and we want them to give feedback where appropriate. And there's gonna be dots and there's gonna be sticky things and
Okay,
All
you
that.
just said stupid things.
Sticky thing.
Oh,
Sticky thing.
Sticky things.
Sticky thing.
Okay,
So-
sticky, that's what I have on my thing, except I said quirky.
But I think from our next meeting, then, we're gonna have also kind of our direction at each table, how we're gonna do that, and that's something we can bring to you guys. And I think as long as you don't have any issues with what we're bringing forward to you, I think we'll just go ahead with concept. That sound okay, or?
okay. I still, so do we need a meeting like on the 20th is what I'm getting at?
I wouldn't
Is-
think so.
Is this,
I would
what do you
think,
have to do on the 15th? Maybe that's the better question. What kind of decisions do you guys need to make on the 15th? Because
Basically setting up the tables, how the tables are gonna operate.
so
Which
on-
the-
Sticky notes,
it's gonna be there where it's coming from, the very little bitty details.
yes.
So we should not have to approve or do anything if you meet on the 15th and decide you're making a big, huge change, then we would call a special, you'd tell me right away and we would call a special meeting.
Right.
Or
You see
Yep.
something going.
That's-
That's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, that makes good sense.
That's
Tell me if
fair.
I'm wrong, but I
Okay.
can't see
No.
any big changes.
No, I
Okay.
can't either, I guess.
okay,
We
that's.
don't need a
fine.
meeting to talk about what kind of cookies.
One, you said sticky thing?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna put dots on places that you think are
Sticky.
important, I don't know exactly how Barry has
Well, I
this
get-
organized,
I
but
get that, but something that he brought up and something we all know, and you're gonna get these questions, so maybe we should just have a handout on how your roads are really fixed, so that, because people are gonna come in and ask that question, and it could take somebody's entire day for someone to explain that if somebody isn't getting it. Is there a way we could just have a handout on how you get your roads?
That's a good idea, because there's a lot of answers in that.
Yeah, a lot of comments about the road.
That I thought. Like the.
Yeah.
For example, that I did hearing form for water tower, how much it cost and water line. Have that available, so somebody says, well, you know, why don't we get the water tower and then here's the report, have you seen this?
yes.
So we're gonna have things there to educate the.
I just don't want somebody getting, well, how are our roads fixed? Do you really know how our roads are fixed? Here's a 10-page document on how our roads are fixed. Thank you. Well, and that's another thing. Tom, you were talking about sewers. I would point you to the ordinances on sewers and stuff. Because there were things, now I'm jogging my memory here and I'm going back probably 5 years. Maybe Michael can help me here. Didn't we didn't you guys, the PC, take some stuff out of the program for the sewer and lean it more on Grand Traverse County?
I don't recall that.
You need to really research that, because there were some things that were put in, taken out, and I know.
But we're just trying to look at how do we
Yeah.
want. it
I
in the future.
understand that, but he doesn't wanna give out misinformation.
Not giving out any of that information.
Okay,
We're looking for future,
Gathering.
what
Okay.
people want.
Input towards-
Go ahead.
Heidi's question has to do with me wanting to know what the current status is.
Oh,
How far do sewers currently extend into the community? So that if somebody says, well, we should build, something that's going to require a lot of sewage, or sewer line, they want it where Alton's stand is now. Well, that's not gonna work because they don't have sewer. That far.
is there somewhere he can go research on where those sewer lines are, Mike?
Yeah, around,
So we have a,
Grand Traverse County would,
I
the
think-
health
I
department would.
the casino.
and I think Leo will have some of that
Did you hear the
information
casino-
as well.
Casino maybe, Tom,
Well, I think that's about the only place there's any real sewer line.
I think so.
Water line runs from.
Yeah. Follow the fire hydrants, Tom. They're covered in blue barrels right now.
I think
that's-
Leah was trying to get a
that's-
hold of that information too for an email, so.
Okay. So do you want me to give the board this Leah? Also,
If you want to, sure. and
I
then
think the
we'll-
more information I give them, the better.
I think they likely have a copy of that report that was done by CM2 Hill or whatever that firm is.
I wish I could say that they would read it and everything's kosher when you make.
Oh, that's
those
what we're,
comments, but
that's part of their preparation for this.
you
this
think, but
thing.
okay.
So is everybody good with the direction?
Yeah, I think it's very clearly laid out.
So any departure from this, and you would call Rachel and we'd have a special planning commission meeting, any
Any
substantial
substantial.
departure.
But if
So
we
we
do
need to
anything
make-
at all, we still will update you.
The only
Even the littlest change will update you.
Well, right, because I'll be there and need to know what I'm doing, but if well, we wouldn't call a meeting for any little change.
No, but I'm just saying, at least you would know.
Right, okay, so I'm writing here on this action item list, at the 9:15 meeting.
let Rachel know by 9/16 if a special meeting needs to be called.
So
Yeah.
I'm, right now, can we decide on a potential date if we need it, is the 20th open in here?
I'm not seeing that.
I don't either, but if I
No,
have to
that's-
call it, I don't want to have to run around and call everybody, are you
Yeah.
available, and is the 20th?
Which day?
Yes.
I'm coming up with a contingency plan. When's your meeting?
Sorry, Rich.
When's your RO's meeting?
20th, I think, I'm just checking.
15th?
Got nothing, yeah.
All right, I'm coming up with a contingency plan if I don't hear from the PTO.
Well, the ROSs can work on they were gonna. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
working on that. That's their.
So I don't have to
that's-
worry. You don't want me to keep pressing her? You want me to just say we got
I
it
would,
covered?
she's super busy. I wouldn't.
So do you want me to take care of the cookies for you or no? Hey, Cookie Man, do you want me to take the cookies over for you? Pete,
What? I'm
Pete,
thinking about the signs and stuff.
I know. Do you want me to take care of the cookie issue and have it finished and done? In other words, I'll show up, set the table up, put the cookies out, have some bottles of water and call it a day and give you a receipt.
I don't know, what did we already have planned for that? So we have no. You got it.
Did you see that on my?
Are,
You
are
got
you
it.
gonna go to the meeting on? the
One less thing we
15th?
gotta worry about.
Why would I have to go to the meeting on the 15th? I'll send an email saying, this is what you're having, cookies and blah, blah, blah.
Sounds good.
Go ahead.
The only, question I have is, so we got our Irwin meeting. We're supposed to have a follow-up session sometime in October, I believe, Randy.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think it was late October.
Early November. Yeah.
Mhm.
Meeting. The date and the maybe, that, so get all the signing stuff. That's what I.
I think if we, in our next meeting, we can probably come up with that, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Fourth. Unless it went into the first week. of
That's a
November.
Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
30th.
30th.
So. That's our school, it have to be one of those 2 days, so that, I'm trying to figure out.
That's a good point. We need, that's gotta be on the agenda to decide when our November meeting is, or our November outreach meeting is,
Oh, okay.
or
So
October,
that would
late
be
October.
October 4th agenda.
Would be on their 15th agenda.
But,
Right.
but on their 15th
Yeah.
agenda.
Right, we'll have to
That's a
decide.
good
Yeah.
point.
Okay.
Your board meeting's on the 10th.
They don't have to. approve.
So that has to be discussed on the 15th.
Good.
Just to lock the date in.
Yeah, we'll lock it in.
Your list is getting long.
Yes, I know.
I'm getting it
I
down.
took
for
one thing, I took one thing.
You did?
Cookies, you're done.
9:15 agenda.
You think bottled water, you guys?
Easy.
to-
Yeah.
Little short.
Yeah, look, yeah, if you're gonna do it, make it.
I was just thinking of going to Otis.
Did you get your answer on your
Going to Otis.
tentative date if you needed it?
Yeah.
What you can get from.
Agenda to include dates for second follow-up workshop. Recommended to PC. Recommendation for PC app.
And then I'll get Shorty.
I gotta add to Heidi's list here. She's a cookie girl.
Cookie and water.
Cookie Monster, Cookie and Water Monster.
Cookie, water and clipboards.
I think Leah was providing all of the supplies.
Really?
Yeah,
There's
I
no
don't
need
think
to
you
sign
need
in clipboards, so you don't need the clipboard?
We'll have a table.
I think we're good on clipboards.
All right, cool. Cookies and water, I'm good, I'm done.
Okay,
I think next is signs, if we can jump to that.
yeah, let's jump.
Oh, wait,
Did you want to do a roll call to approve the conceptual plan as laid out by the LIA memo for the open house?
yes.
We do. Are we gonna, but you're going into detail on it right now first, so should we go through it a little more detail before we
okay.
do it?
Okay.
Good idea.
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, signs.
So Randy, good.
Well, there's the flyer and the signs.
Oh, that's, hold
Both.
on a second, I'm sorry. The signs aren't on. We're freaking back, I thought they were.
Yeah, they are.
They're here somewhere.
I just had them.
Well, I guess we got the special meeting, we never got that.
Oh, yeah, okay, so it is
Oh,
on, there,
yeah.
so yeah,
Yep, under communications.
okay,
right.
thank you, yeah, okay.
So Denise helped me put together this flyer here. I gave everyone a copy. That's basically the same format as we had for the survey, a little bit more brief, and the idea is to try to be as concise as possible. We did run this past Barry and he thought it was looked good too. So we wanted to have the planning commission approve this before we would move on to running, well, to emailing certainly to from the treasurer's list, and then also posting on the website as well as other business locations or any other locations. We want. Trying to be brief, but interesting. So. No, so I guess I was starting with the flyer, which is the first thing, and then the second is the signs. Yeah, that's, we remember we had these signs for the survey. The thinking when we did that was that we would be trying. Instead of printing a whole new sign, we could try to just print part of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like the
yeah,
same
absolutely.
party.
It's kind of like there's planners in the room, huh?
Yeah.
So the idea is we could take that to Staples and just have them print the bottom part for us, or on something that's weatherproof and just tape it on there. And then when we have this next workshop, we do the same thing.
We talked about.
Awesome.
Nice, Tom. Do you want to put something on Ron Jolly? I mean, I'm sure we could get a PSA on there.
Certainly would not hurt.
We did talk about that in our last meeting, and I think we're gonna just do the same thing we did before. Yeah. That's what, it's part of this plan is.
Oh, maybe we'll just.
Kind of just
why don't we just
regurgitating what we
email
already
him
did
this?
before.
Why don't we email him this, Rachel, and see if he'll just give us a shout out.
Ron will.
I know, especially if it comes from you.
No, I have all the workshop signs in my truck. I can count them after the meeting. I picked them up from Rod, rather. Is Okay. Well, that brings me to a good point, because I'm not going to be here shortly. So we need help with the sign. Printing.
I already signed up.
Okay.
But. I
So that
signed
means
up.
going to Staples and getting it printed, and
Oh,
then,
okay.
Uh-oh, now I'm going to stay.
Wait, I don't know what
I'm putting signs out.
okay, so we have to go to Staples to have them print the bottom portion if that's possible. And get that section printed. And then taped on there on top of it, and then obviously put out on the
Can you
roads.
send them an email and get it get it going and then I'll just pick it up? And get it to Tom and.
I
we'll
can,
put
I'm gonna
'em
be
out?
over that way. We went to Staples last time, so that's why I'm thinking it makes sense. I'm gonna be over that way in SI town tomorrow, so I could swing by and see what I
we
can
do
do.
it Something sticky,
What's that?
on something sticky that.
Like
they'll
a
peel
bump-
Oh,
out.
maybe they can, I don't know what they can
You
do.
Stick
but-
it, otherwise you're gonna have to take a clear piece of tape and.
Yeah, I was just gonna take a sign there and give them what we want and just have them.
Be careful, you'll end up paying more than if you just got a new.
And that may be the
Got
case. That,
signs for expensive.
that may be the case. I guess we'll have to find, we assumed it was cheaper to do it that way, but we'll find out. I'll stop at Staples tomorrow, but can somebody help me with this? I'm gonna be gone later this week and
I can, if you need me to go pick it up, just to
Okay.
call me and say, go get it, I'll go
Yeah,
get
if you
it.
need help putting them together and taking them out, I can think of that.
I think Tom offered to help too with just putting them out,
So this, the sign and the survey or the
flyer.
flyer is if you look under communication on page 152, it's the document that we're gonna in concept approving, talks about that township will send in a few weeks before the open house. We'll send an email. Treasurer will send an email as the list. Because it can't be shared with Leah, so township, we talked about that last time. Posters, advertising workshop will be created and should be displayed at the public facilities. Businesses may choose to display posters. The township will post information about the public input sessions on its website. And then the ROS responsibilities will be create and distribute the flyers, create, distribute road signs, and then go live on air and radio stations to promote. So kind of the same steps we did, or they did in the last for the survey.
And when should the email blast go out?
That was what I was gonna do.
It said a few weeks before the open house.
So that would be soon.
ASAP.
ASAP.
So, and then a reminder as well, right? We talked about a reminder, somebody did, yeah. Email
Okay.
blast ASAP and a reminder the day.
You're already
Lois'
20,
list.
you're already 22 days.
So in the email, we'll be talking about sending
That.
this.
Okay, I'll take the draft off of it and we'll send it to you tomorrow.
Okay, send it to the treasurer's office.
Okay.
Treasurer at Whitewater Township, because I can put that right out tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow.
Good.
And love this, John.
Oh, it still has draft
Got
on the top.
draft.
Still got draft on it, come on.
Well, because we don't want these things going out if they're not right.
Okay. We're gonna approve it all.
We're getting there.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
One love vote here.
Okay, so I added for myself, though, to get printed, come here and print a bunch of these for the flyers in the backpacks at the school and have that put in their orange folders on Friday, the 22nd, which is the Friday before the event. Is that, you
Yeah.
want that?
How about if I send this to all the planning commission members and ROS members
We can all.
and
check
you
this
can
out.
distribute?
Yeah, just send it to.
Copy
everybody.
and-
Can
No.
you post it in this building and stuff too? Okay, I'm gonna add that to your list.
Like I have the big flyer for the Halloween party. It's
On the
supposed to
door,
be
yeah,
like
put it
this.
on the door.
Can we, but then for handing out and have half ones? Can we do that for their packets? It
In the
really
school?
makes it a lot less expensive.
Oh,
That's the
it does.
expense right now.
So, but do we have to approve another version or can you just
No.
condense it?
you
Just
can-
cut it in half.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
That's a good idea.
what I do with the Halloween one. that's
Right,
up
can you
there.
make sure it gets taped on the door too?
Mhm.
So maybe people paying their taxes glance at it or something. What we should do is put a little sign by the recycle bin with copies like this.
I'm gonna have Lois,
Don't
I'm gonna
laugh.
have him send the
because
half
how many
sheets
People go to the
to
recycle.
me and you so that you can print them for me, so I can
It's like
take them to
regular,
the.
put the.
Yeah, you'll find out how.
Tom, how about
Yeah.
that? What do you say?
Yeah, I'll find out how many, and then I'll have you print them and you
Find
can
the
keep some of
recycle
them
bin.
here too, like you did for the.
Yep, like it's up
In like
there.
a little realtor.
Okay.
Just tape it to each bin.
Is there, just a thought? Does the planning commission have a Facebook page?
Yeah, well, oh, a Facebook page, no, 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 no.
We thought about trying to do a Facebook, event for this. I mean, that's where everybody sees this stuff.
Maybe you should.
Am I allowed to do it as the chair? Like I'm hosting kind of thing on behalf of the, or am I gonna be?
You might not want it under your
I don't know
your
how you
profile.
get-
You
might
have
get
to
a
put it
following
where
your
people
friends.
can't, you have
No.
to do it where people can't comment, they can only share. Can you do that?
Yeah. an
And
invite,
maybe
yeah.
then the. our
An
next
event,
committee
it
could
wouldn't
put
be
it
a
out.
page, it would have to be an event. Just
Right.
like I'm inviting and everybody can share it to anybody and invite
Right.
whoever
Right.
they want.
Why not just put this up there? I mean, it's
Because
on
you
the
can put it
township
out and then
website,
share it
go
to
through
any, all of us that
whatever
have
we-
Facebook.
If somebody
And
put
we
it
can
on
share it to
Facebook, we can
everybody we
share it
know.
Whatever we want.
And
If I'm not
Yep.
gonna get in trouble, I'll do it. I'm just doing.
I can't
Well,
promise
since
you that.
we don't have an attorney, since we don't have an attorney to ask the question, why don't you email it to all of us and we'll put it up on our Facebook page?
It's just another way to advertise this. It's not,
Okay,
it's not.
I'll do an event. I'll create an
Okay.
event and invite you all and let you invite everybody else too. I think I can make you like a co-host or something and then you can.
Right,
share
just
it.
make,
Just make it
make
so that
where
it's
they
shareable.
can't make it shareable, but not commentable.
Invite.
I don't
because-
know if you can.
Because, yes,
I
you
don't-
can,
I-
yes,
okay.
you can. I've seen events where you can't.
You make
comment.
us partial host, we can edit it too.
Perfect.
You Need help, I can take a look at it.
Do it.
Well, cause think about that. There are, if you look in certain Facebook things, you can only share it. You can't comment on it. You can share it and that's it. Because you don't really want people commenting, just, if
I
you're
get that.
going or you're not.
Okay. Is that everything that you feel we need to talk about on the memo?
Yep, I think, just the golden objectives on the bottom. Talks about, our guiding workshop participants. Through the results, through the different tables, and I think this is like you said, just a general. As long as everybody's okay with that stuff, then.
So and then I'll just ask that since I won't be at the meeting on the 15th, but I have a pretty. I'm greeting people, explaining what's going on. If you have a script for me or you want to meet early on the 28th or something like that to get me up,
I think
to make
it'd be
sure
a good
I'm
idea
fully
to
up to
speed up a
speed.
little bit before ahead time. And
Okay,
we can send you everything too, so
right. And I'll watch if I can.
we'll just make
but-
sure there's no surprises.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay, then what was that wonderful, simple motion you had for us earlier?
To approve the conceptual plan as laid out in the LIAA memo for the open house.
August 28th, 23, and just approve the blanket.
Did you just make a motion for us, Al?
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion to approve the LIA document dated August 28th, 23. Outlining the master plan open house organization. As written. And the page is 149 through.
Change that to that conceptual
Yeah.
though, because that's a little fluid.
As a conceptual,
Yeah.
As the conceptual, pages 149 through. Just a minute,
We don't have to have a page number.
you got page numbers.
150.
Who wants to second it?
I'll second it.
There you go, Michael. can
Thank
have
you.
it.
Roll call when ready.
You said August 28th?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call. Volmuth,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Robel, Steelman,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Keaton.
Yes.
Gonna rain forever.
Thank you. Anything else related to resident outreach or the workshop that anybody wants to bring up or talk about? If not, we already know the next meeting is the 15th at 9 AM. And I will move on. The next couple items in the packet are. Let me tell you the page number, just so. Okay, it starts on page 153. They're the answers to our questions that I submitted to the township board.
Let's just make a quick
Yeah.
question about the, setting up the meetings for this. So am I gonna be setting up all the meetings for this?
For what?
Cause I know last time we talked about it, I thought Ron was setting up all the meetings.
For the Zoom,
For the Zoom?
you have to ask him what dates you want the Zoom for, I think.
No, I just do it myself, but
Then-
I'm just saying, I thought we talked about in a few meetings ago that he set it up for 6 months or something.
You'd have to send him an
I-
email and ask.
No idea.
I remember that.
I don't see
com-
anything in there.
I remember that comment, but I don't know how far he went. You'd have to send him an
I
email.
don't see
and
anything
ask
in
him.
there, so.
You can go ahead and set up if you want, just all
Okay.
of them and. For the regular meetings, I guess, if he didn't do it, if you don't.
Do you
mind.
do the
I'm
ROS
glad to
ones
listen.
too? Do you do the ROS Zoom too?
Mhm.
Okay. Just set them up. If
Okay.
you're not gonna send him an email, just say I cleaned it. I would send him
I
an
will do
email
that
and
tomorrow.
say,
I'll set them all up and,
I would send him an email and say I took care of it. Just keeping him in the
I'm just
loop
gonna do
so
it,
that he
you know,
doesn't, but
couple months
tell
ahead.
him you're doing it so that he doesn't do it.
well, he's not doing it, so, I mean, I had set it up for
I,
today's meeting.
I get that, but tell him we took care of it.
Yeah,
Just to
okay.
check, just to check and balance.
All right.
Oh.
I think so. Are we done on the resident outreach?
the one
Thank
that-
you for coming.
That's the one that would have been in the
Oh.
packet book over there, but it's too much for the book. So I just
Oh.
put it in a separate
I see.
notebook and figured if y'all wanted, it could just stay there.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not, it hasn't changed, so.
Correct.
Okay, sorry, Rachel.
No, you're fine. That was a good question. That was good. So, yeah, just the next few pages are, the responses are received to our requests of questions. And then, I included Cheryl sent some administration policy as we requested as well. So I included that so everybody could see. Any questions on any of that?
Was everybody okay with how he answered the questions? Guess so.
Is what it is.
You look
Is
at
what
it?
it is. That's the right, that's
Here's
the
the
answer.
process. We asked for it, so let's follow it.
So, then the last thing that I included, before we get into education is what I submitted for the September 12th township board meeting. So I'm inviting them to our joint meeting on the 9th so we can discuss the master plan and zoning project as we discussed at our August meeting. Again, reiterated the need for a PC appointment, which is, there is one on the agenda for September 12th township board meeting. And then they had asked for obviously the forecasted budget, and we know we needed a budget amendment, which we discussed at our special meeting. So that was included. And Randy helped me with that, so thank you very much on that. And then Cheryl's did the request for the wages because we knew we didn't have enough for our additional meetings, the rest of the year's meetings.
And what did she say about that? You don't need a motion because since budget amendments fall under consent calendar, a separate motion is not required to approve these amendments.
Because it's all money. It's for both the 25,000 and the
Right,
26.
but I don't need to make a motion as long as they vote, nobody takes it out of the consent agenda. So you need no motion. But someone could take it out of the consent agenda if they don't want it.
Well, then you're there to make a motion if it's necessary. Okay. I didn't have any new business. I realized I messed up on the agenda where I didn't update the next meeting. So our next meeting is October 4th at 7 PM. Obviously not tonight, as I listed there. And I'm gonna open it back up for public comment. And so we have nobody, or Denise, you have one? All right,
The covers, I'm sorry, was it?
October 4th.
And Carl will know this because I know he reads the,
Pardon?
I said, I think you know the answer to this because you read the planning and zoning book. I believe the planning commission as well as the ZBA, they're not to have discussed with the public any,
I'm sorry.
okay.
Yeah, I believe, I don't have the Greek book in front of me, the planning and zoning book. But in it, I believe it says that the planning commissioners and the ZBA are not to have any time to discuss any topic with the public prior or outside of a meeting. So if someone comes up to you and wants to talk to you about something and Deb would just say, you know, you have some very interesting thoughts and comments. You know, would you please come to the meeting and share that with the planning commission?
Correct.
You don't make any comments about like,
No.
oh, no, that's terrible. We don't want to do that. You know, no discussion.
We are,
Yeah. So, I-
Okay.
but
we are not allowed.
Carl, yeah, I'm sorry, Carl, you can't.
You can't.
She's at it's her public comment.
Oh, it's probably comment, but
Yeah,
I
I'm the
believe,
biggest complainer.
but I did talk to, because I knew Carl reads the manuals all the time. But I believe the same thing that applies to the ZBA applies to the planning commissioners as well. So if you will look in your planning commission book and it will say if somebody comes up to you to talk to you about an issue that you should say, it's a great idea you have. I like your comments. Please come to the planning commission and present that to us. So,
It's a little, as I understand.
yeah, I'm sorry, Carl.
Thank you.
I drew you into something I shouldn't have.
Okay.
So, anyway,
Okay.
that was my public comment.
Thank you, Denise. Anybody on Zoom?
No hands on Zooms, I see. Oh, we got two hands, Vicky and Connie.
Do you know who was first?
I think Vicky was, but.
Okay,
both
Vicky,
talked
you're
at
up.
the same time.
It doesn't matter what order we go in. I'm actually very concerned about, after hearing Carl's recap of the ZBA meeting. It's a different version than the meeting that I attended. My big question to ask of the PC and the ZBA, do you all know that the 4-to-1 ratio applies to any parcel in our township? It might be worth it for all of you to go and review the ZBA meeting. It was recorded and the recording is on the township front page along with a password. I'm very alarmed that it appears again that the PC and ZBA don't even know what our land division requirement is. The township supersedes the state, and it clearly states any parcel in our township is to be a max of 4-to-1. Again, if you watch the recording, you will see for yourself that the zoning administrator made a mistake, is trying to cover it up, and with the help of the ZBA not being properly prepared, a vote was given to provide a variance. I'm very disappointed that letters from Frank Highmore Jr. were thrown away and not read by members of the ZBA. I searched the ZBA handbook. It actually states that ZBA members, when confronted by the public, as was just mentioned by Denise, should not engage in conversation, should encourage them to attend the meeting or ask them to submit their comments in writing, which is what Frank did. Nowhere does it say that a member of public cannot send comments to the ZBA. Again, the meeting is recorded. Carl made a statement that his comment was at the very end of the meeting. I'm really shocked that he said he was afraid for his safety. Yes, it was an emotional evening, but Frank Highmore was not attacking anybody. He simply asked, who did the ZBA work for? The ZBA and PC work for the members of our township. I have meetings all of the time, and I know that it takes time to prepare for meetings. You are all volunteering, but when you took this position, you did know it required being prepared for meetings. I heard several comments tonight that a member didn't know something was in the packet. Again, how prepared are you? We are counting on you to do what is required of members of the PC, and it is extremely important that you are prepared for meetings and certainly aware of our ordinances. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Connie?
So just because you say something or I say something doesn't mean it's true. Please do your own investigation. Imagine how frustrating it is to watch these meetings and the recordings of these meetings and hear someone blatantly say a mistruth. It's so hard to be out here with a voice that no one wants to listen to. I know you're probably sick of hearing me, but I'm so tired. I'm so tired of fighting a battle that I don't think that we're ever going to meet eye to eye on. These are things that are written in the zoning ordinance books, in the general ordinances. I'm just reading. I'm doing homework. In March of 2022, at a PC meeting, Bob Hall spoke about the Bags Road property and how the division error was his mistake. He admitted it. He took responsibility. He also stated that state law says parcels over 10 acres don't have to follow the 4-to-1. And Carl, you're right in that. It's a state law. But then he went on to say, Mr. Hall went on to say, local law supersedes state law. So the 10-acre rule does not apply in Whitewater Township. The video of that PC meeting, just like Vicky said, it's on the website. And you can watch it. You can hear him say it. I implore you to watch it. I'm not lying. You can look at it. The people keep repeating the zoning administrator comment from that meeting about the 10-acre law. That's a state law, not a township law of Whitewater. I'm sorry, I'm so frustrated. It's so hard to be here. I'm sorry. I thank you for your work. I appreciate every one of you. I really, honestly do. Have a good night.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Next, we have PC discussion and comments.
Guess I just have a question. What township zoning ordinance is she saying superseding the state one?
I think she's referring to the land division ordinance.
Can you please speak in the microphones?
I think she's
Thank-
referring to the land division ordinance, but the 4-to-1 is mentioned in the zoning ordinance as well.
Right here in the Article 4 zoning districts in your PC packet, ladies and gentlemen, it does say 1-4.
And the state law says
1-4.
1-4, and ours says 1-4.
Well, but the state, it sounds.
I'm just
like
trying to
what they're-
understand
It
what,
sounds like what they're saying is the state law says acreage over 10 acres doesn't have to follow that law. But
we're-
clearly
Right.
what they're saying is, local law supersedes that state
Right.
law.
and that's.
That
what-
seems to be the.
And that's the issue, right? So whenever you split property, there's a remainder, and the remainder is usually a large parcel. If you've got 50 acres of farmland or whatever, and you want to carve out 1 or 5 acre parcels for lots, you create those, and those clearly have to have 1-to-4 ratios, that they're basically rectangular. But when you do that, there's a remainder, what's left. And so what's left should apparently have the 4-to-1 as well under the local ordinance. So if you think about it, there's a little bit of a paradox in that, because it's possible the existing parcel didn't meet 4-to-1.
So what has been said then is that something was approved that our ordinance says shouldn't have been
4-to-1.
approved.
Correct.
So is there something we should be doing at this point, or?
There's nothing for us to.
The boards.
Okay. Just want to be clear. Thanks.
I don't
And enforce the
understand,
decision.
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
far as I researched our ordinance, And I believe the 109B of the state land division says, like up to 10 acres is the state law. If we want to make that 1-to-4 rule anything more than that, we have to say that in our ordinance, and our ordinance does not say that. Therefore, as far as, like information we have, and if, let's take the court. Our
Our
Well,
ordinance states
They-
that.
it doesn't say anything about
not
over
public
10 acres.
comment, sorry, it's not public comment, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you guys.
We can't hear you guys now. You guys have muted yourselves.
Oh, hold on. Stand by.
There we go.
Okay. So I was just saying we were getting down a rabbit hole that's, I don't think necessary for tonight. So are there any other discussions or comments?
I'm just saying, if you read what's in our packet here, it pretty
Okay.
much says 4-1.
Okay, we're not gonna go down that rabbit hole right now, okay? Yeah, okay. So we're gonna get into continuing education. So there are several opportunities and stuff in your packet, and then I know the one, Randy brought for us tonight too, so I'll let you speak on that one.
Yeah, it just so happens the Michigan Planning Conference is here in Traverse City this year at the resort. And so I passed out the complete program for you to look at. You can go to all the sessions. There's even a citizen planner thing you can get done in 3 days there if you're interested. So just so you're aware of that.
Is.
And it's coming up October 4th. All right. I forget what. But the early bird deadline is coming up Friday, I think, so.
So there's an option to do it in 3 days?
Yes, citizen planner program on the very last or second page.
It's like a red box.
Yes. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I may be there for one of the days, not for both.
When's early registration due by?
I think it might be Friday, but you can register after that. It just costs a few bucks more.
So it looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4 Wednesdays. 5, 6 Wednesdays.
Oh, it's
No, you're not,
fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Oh, I was on the Michigan.
the one he passed out. Mhm, yeah. Yeah, there's lots of good stuff on here.
I'm gonna try to do that. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 9:03 PM. Thank you, everybody.